Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks today. We are talking Thursday, January 30th. The Splash Zone is back in your life. I'm going to have 4 NBA player prop picks for you guys to lock in for tonight's NBA betting slate. Pretty small slate. I think there are 5 games tonight. I'm going to have 4 for you guys to lock in. Of course, all 4 are plus money bangers because that is how we do things here. Before we get into today's picks, we do have to do a recap from yesterday, which was a pretty frustrating day. I had 7 plays total. 6 if you were just on the YouTube channel. I added 1 play later. Unfortunately, that play did not hit. It was Jonas Valanciunas double-double. That play did not hit. But a pretty frustrating day. I had Karl-Anthony Towns over 15.5 rebounds plus assists. I think he had 8 in the first quarter alone, and then he ended with exactly 15, so we got hooked there. I had Bam Adebayo double-double. He ended with exactly 9 rebounds, so we got hooked there as well. And also that was frustrating because he barely played in the fourth quarter due to a blowout. A couple plays weren't even close, like Isaiah Hartenstein kind of got cheeky with that one. He actually came through on both the rebounds and the assist. He just didn't get 10 points. So overall, just a frustrating day. We did cash out Anthony Edwards, 30-plus points, which was nice. But was hoping we were going to have a better day yesterday, but down 0.75 units isn't terrible. Obviously, you never want to lose money, but down less than a unit isn't terrible. On the season, that now brings our total profit. We're up a little bit above 20 units on the year. Not amazing, but not terrible either. Up 20 units of profit is fine. It had been a pretty good month of January. We're up about 16 units or so in the month of January alone, so that's been pretty good. But let's hope we can finish it out. We got 2 days left of January. Let's have 2 days in the green. Really set ourselves up nicely for the rest of the season. But yeah, appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We can get into it. So the first play, and the screen that, or the page you see on the screen here is Props Madness. I use them for all my NBA betting. If you're interested in checking them out, I put a link both in the pinned comments as well as the description. Awesome website. So the first play, I actually do have a play in this Lakers-Wizards game. And we're taking Jackson Hayes, and we're taking him on the rebound. So I actually bet him over 7.5. And that is best offered at plus 120 at DraftKings. So as of right now, Props Madness is just telling you that it's at minus 130 for 6.5, but 7.5 plus 120 is the official bet here. Obviously, if you're looking at the full season, you're going to say, why the heck are you betting this game? He's only hit it in 3 of 24 games. Well, huge injury news here. Guess who's not playing? Anthony Davis. 2 of the 3 times he went over were games in which Anthony Davis missed. He had 10 rebounds on 22 rebound chances. That's amazing against the Memphis Grizzlies. And then he missed it against the Portland Trailblazers. Only had 6 rebounds, only played 18 minutes. Obviously, we're hoping for more than 18 minutes in this one. And then he did cash it against the Nets, 9 rebounds, 17 rebound chances. The most important thing here are the minutes. Like if you take out AD and you just look at the minutes, it's like mostly hovering between like 10 and 15, 18 over here. But then there's like twice where his minutes skyrocketed. 35 minutes here, 33 minutes here. I think those are the only 2 games where he played 30 or more minutes. Obviously, that heavily coincides with Anthony Davis missing. So 1 game with AD missing, he only played 18 minutes. That was this game here. We're hoping for more. It's 30 minutes in 2 of the 3. And obviously, incredibly correlated to that, it's 8 or more rebounds in 2 of the 3. But with no Anthony Davis, I'm going to guess here is that Jackson Hayes is going to become the starting center and that he's going to play maybe not the 30 minutes, but probably more than the 18 minutes is what I would guess is that he would play. And it's an amazing matchup. Like technically, Props Madness lists him as a power forward because if he plays with Anthony Davis, that's the position he's playing. My guess is he's going to be the starting center in this one. And center props against the Wizards are good, right? Rebounds, the Wizards, this is defense versus position, just like how they guard the position. We're looking at center, we're looking at rebounds. Wizards allow the second most rebounds to centers in the entire NBA. Looking at another source, same stat, just a different source. One of them was Fantasy Pros. This one is hashtag NBA. But it's the same exact stat. We're looking at centers. We're looking at rebounds. Guess what? The Wizards allow the second most rebounds to centers in the entire NBA. So they're a good matchup for center rebound props, despite what this is telling you. This is looking at power forwards. And in 2 of the 3 games with no AD, he's played 30 plus minutes. In 2 of the 3 games without AD, he's recorded 8+ rebounds. So it's a really good matchup for him. So I think it's a worthy hit, especially at the plus money we're getting at plus 120. Hawks versus Cavs. I actually have 2 bets in this game. The first one is we're taking Darius Garland, and we're actually taking him to score 25 plus points. So it's not a huge hit rate thing for him on the year. He scored 25 or more points in about 40% of his games, a little bit less than that, 17 of 45 games. So the hit rate on the year isn't great. It's been decent recently, like especially like the immediate recency bias. 5 of his last 10 games isn't bad, and it's 4 of his last 6 as well. And in one of those games, he scored exactly 24. So he came really close, like literally just hooked, whether he hit the over or not. The reason why I'm betting on Garland in general, and B, the reason why I feel comfortable laddering him or pumping him up to 25 plus, couple reasons. Number one, let's talk about the matchup. The matchup against the Atlanta Hawks. Now we just took somebody's pumped up prop against the Hawks, and that came through to fruition. We had Jalen Green a couple nights ago, 25 plus points for juicy odds. He came through. You hover over the matchup here, and you see D rank versus DPT, defensive rank versus the play type for Darius Garland, which is the pick and roll ball handler. He scores about over a third of his points as the pick and roll ball handler. The Hawks allow the 4th most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers. So it's a good matchup there. And we just go down the play types. The Hawks are average guarding spot ups, but they're below average guarding transition, and that's where the third majority in terms of Darius Garland points come from, is in transition. They allow the 7th most points per game via transition. But we hover over the matchup again, and we just go down one more. D rank versus DSZ, defensive rank versus shot zone. For Darius Garland, it's the above the break 3-pointer. The Hawks, literally the worst defense in the NBA, guarding the above the break 3-pointer. They allow the most points per game via the above the break 3-pointer. That's where 40% of the points from Garland comes from. And another thing I like, another 20% of his points comes at the rim, at the restricted area. They allow the 3rd most points in the restricted area as well. They allow the 8th most points in the paint. That's where 40% of the shots from Garland comes from. So Garland, I mean, he barely takes any mid-range or corner threes. He's either taking a 3-pointer or he's scoring in the paint. 80% of his baskets come from there. And the Hawks range from the worst defense, the 3rd worst defense, or in terms of points in the paint allowed, the 8th worst. And if we just go down, you see D rank versus DPT versus DSZ. And the 4th one below that is points in the paint allowed, PITP, points in the paint. So it's a really good matchup for him. He's played the Hawks a couple times this year. One game he went under, one game he went over. The reason why I'm going with him instead of Donovan Mitchell, because they both have him and Mitchell have very similar shot profiles, like pick and roll ball handler, above the break 3. Majority of shots come from the above the break, then at the rim. The reason why I like going with Garland tonight is because the Cavs are on the 2nd leg of a back-to-back, but Darius Garland didn't play last night. So if you look at Donovan Mitchell, he played last night against the Heat. Now, he only played 30 minutes. It wasn't like he played a ton of minutes, but he did play last night. He had a good game, shot 5 of 11 from deep, 14 from 23 of the field. So he did score 34 points. Now, the Cavs are going on a back-to-back. Now, they're at home tonight, so it's not like they're going to be crazy tired or anything like that. But they are on the 2nd leg of a back-to-back. But Darius Garland didn't play, so he's really going to be the only one out there with fresh legs. So my prediction in this game is that we see a little bit more usage from Garland than what we typically see. And it's a really good matchup for him to do so. Like, if we just look at the matchup in general, 6 of 10 players, similar to Garland, have hit their point prop over against the Hawks. And it's funny looking at the guys who missed, because it's like Booker missed once, cashed once. Cade Cunningham missed once, cashed once. Garland missed once, cashed once. So it's like these guys are basically going every other against the Hawks. Now, obviously, Garland did cash it last time. That was back in November. But it's a good matchup for him. He's the only one on the team that has fresh legs, so I think we see a little bit more usage for Darius Garland as well. Like his field goal attempts hover around. They're mostly between like 10 is a little bit low, like 10, 7. But then like recently, it's been 11, 22, 21, 21, 13. So I'm guessing we're going to see up until like the high teens, low 20s in terms of shot volume. And if we just look at games in which he's taken at least 16 shots, he scored 25 points in 14 of 24 games. And 16 is relatively safe for him in a game. I think he's going to be a little bit more aggressive than normal. So Darius Garland, 25 plus points. This was at plus 180 odds at BetMGM as the best offer price. Or if BetMGM limits you like they limit me, you could get plus 160 at both FanDuel and Bet365. The next bet I have in this game is on the other side. It's Onyeka Okongwu, and I took him on the double-double. So double-doubles have been good for me recently. Now, a couple guys didn't come through yesterday, but that's just the nature of the business. The reason why I like Onyeka Okongwu tonight, number one, he's just been playing more. If you look at his minutes and you look at the entire season, let's just literally look at the full season for Okongwu. We see that like his minutes are slowly starting to ramp up around this time, right? Like before we see 23, 22, 24, 24, then a couple games like, 29 here, we saw like 31 here. But then like starting about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 22 and then up to 28, 27, 32, 28. He's 27, 30, 29, 27, 27, 28. So he's playing high 20s for majority of his last 10 games or so. Again, it's about the last 2 weeks, when before he was mostly around like a 20 to 25 minutes guy. And I'm guessing he's going to play a lot of minutes tonight because look who is out for this game. Jalen Johnson is unfortunately out for the year. Clint Capella is also out for this game. So Clint Capella being out just generally means more minutes for Okongwu. Now, it's only been 2 games, so we don't have a ton of data to go off of that, but it's 30 minutes and it's 28 minutes in those 2 games. So that's good. And then without Jalen Johnson, it's a little bit of a bigger sample size. And then the minutes were spotty at the beginning, and then they started to ramp up more around the same time that I was already showing you. So there's really no correlation in terms of his minutes without Jalen Johnson. The biggest thing is no Capella. The reason why I want to show you Johnson is just because Johnson's a great rebounder. And with no Capella and no Johnson, the guess here is that we're going to see a lot of rebound opportunities for Okongwu. Now, we don't have a ton of data with just those 2 guys out. Like, it's 1 game, and he did go under. Now, the Rockets are a tough matchup for rebound props, so I'm not really scared off that he missed it in the 1 game that those 2 guys missed. But that was points, actually. Rebounds, he also missed. So it's a tough matchup in both perspectives. But to stick on the points for a second, in general, we're just asking him to score 10 points. He's done that on the year in about 60% of his games, which doesn't sound amazing. We look at his last 10 games, which is when he started playing more minutes. It's actually his last 9. It's his last 9. It's 6 of his last 9, which is pretty good, averaging about 14 points in that span. I like the fact that he's missed it in 2 straight games, in 2 tough matchups. I mean, 2 of 9 and 3 of 4. So we would hope for more volume in this one. And then another game he missed, he had exactly 9 points, which would be a brutal hook if that happened tonight. But the other games, he's performed pretty well. Now, the Cavs are a tough matchup, 100%. They're number 1 in terms of allowing points to pick and roll rollman, which is how he scores the majority of his points outside of cuts. Unfortunately, we don't have any data off of cuts. They don't allow a ton of putbacks either. In terms of points in the paint, they're top 10. They're top 8 technically. In terms of the restricted area, his shot zone, they're top 8, but they allow a little bit more in this push shot. But if we look at games where he's played against teams in the top 10 in terms of guarding his play type, we look at the full season, he's actually scored 10 points in 10 of 13 games. So like the tough matchups haven't really bothered him that well from a points perspective. And then from a rebounds perspective, I think it's a really, really good matchup against the Cavs. Now, he's technically listed as a power forward as well, but we've seen these guys have a ton of success against the Cavs. I mean, 8 of the last 9 with the similar position to Okongwu have hit their rebound prop over. Now, Okongwu did hit his rebound prop over 1 time against the Cavs. Granted, it was priced at 6.5 instead of him needing to get to 10. But we just go through the list. Giannis 14 over under 12.5. Julius Randle 14 over under 7.5. Gershon Yabusele 13 rebounds over under 7.5. So it's a good matchup for him from a rebounds perspective. We've looked at the Cavs all year as a center rebound prop team because they keep guys close to the basket with the 2 bigs that they play in Mobley and Allen, who are both most likely playing tonight. Maybe they'll sit one of them because it's a back-to-back. But either way, Okongwu is going to be close to the basket. And if you look at the year, he's only had 10 rebounds in 11 of 40 games. But, I mean, half of them have been in his last 9 games. 5 of them has been in his last 9 games. And again, I like the fact that he's missed it in 3 straight games. It's kind of a nice positive regression, fade of recent results. So Onyeka Okongwu double-double, plus 165 odds at FanDuel is the best offered price. And then the last bet that I don't have anything in this Timberwolves Jazz game, nor in this Magic Blazers game. The last bet that I took was I took Amen Thompson and I took him over 17.5 points. Now, I would line shop this because I was able to bet it at plus 102 at FanDuel. FanDuel moves their odds back and forth, so right after I bet it, the line moved. It might have gone back, so I would check out FanDuel. Those of you that use Bovada, you can get plus 115. That's a smash. You can also get minus 105 at Bet Rivers, and then on the other books, it's mostly minus 115 and worse. So I would line shop this one. Now, Amen has been awesome recently. You look at games in which he's played without Jabari Smith Jr., who's been out for about, 11 games now. He scored over 17.5 points. It's only 6 of 11 games, but he's averaging about 18.5 points, so he is over that average. In a couple of games he missed. I mean, he would have hooked against the Pistons, going 7 of 14 he would have come one basket away against the Cavaliers, going 7 of 15. But look at the game that he did cash, 19 points in 41 minutes against the Grizzlies. It's a good matchup for him against the Grizzlies. You look at just his play types. Number one, transition. He scores the majority of his points in transition. They're the 4th worst transition defense in the NBA. After that, free throws. He scores the 2nd most of his points via the free throw line. They're the 3rd worst defense, meaning they just foul a lot. Cuts, we don't have any defensive data on, so I can't say good or bad. But then pick and roll ball handler, it's only 10% of his points, so it's not a ton, but they're the 10th worst defense guarding pick and roll ball handler. And even like these lower play types, which don't accumulate a ton of points for him, like it's 10%, 10%, 8%. The Grizzlies are still below average. Putbacks, below average, 12th most. Spot up, below average, 13th most. Isolation, sure, they're good ISO defense, but then below average pick and roll man, and handoff. And I like the fact, another situation where we kind of get to fade recent results. He just missed this last game against the Atlanta Hawks in what technically should have been a good matchup for him. Actually, that was the game I had Jalen Green, but he hit it in 2 games prior to that in good matchups too. Like good matchups meaning against good defenses. Like he was awesome against the Celtics. They won. I think he hit the game winner in that game, played 42 minutes. And then the next night, yeah, he wasn't able to quite replicate that. Had a tough game against the Hawks, but good game against the Grizzlies earlier. Did miss it once. Good game in the second one. But he's just been awesome this year. He's been especially awesome without Jabari Smith Jr. He's been playing a lot more minutes. I mean, he only played 30 minutes this last game, but you look at the games prior to that, 41, 36, so a little bit lower, 41, 35, 41, 40, 36, 41, and 42. So this is the lowest by far when he played 31 minutes. Every other game is like 35 and above. So I really like the look for Amen Thompson. I was debating taking him to go 20 plus as well. The problem is he doesn't have a ton of 3-pointers. So when you pump those numbers up with guys that mostly shoot, I mean, he shoots less than 10% of his buckets come at the 3-point line, 5% from the right corner, 3% from the left, and 1% from the above the break. It's just a little bit scary asking those guys when you keep pumping them up. I mean, only one time has he landed in between this number, but it was against the Grizzlies when he put up 15 shots. So all in all, it's a good matchup for Amen Thompson. He's been playing really well recently. He's been playing 40 minutes. And then the last point I'll make here is that the Grizzlies play literally at the fastest pace in the entire NBA. Number 1 pace, the Grizzlies. So it's going to be a track meet, which is perfect for a young guy like Amen Thompson, who's an awesome basketball player who runs the floor in transition. So yeah, this is our 4th and final pick of the video. I absolutely love this one. I appreciate everybody for watching. Real quick, I'll do a recap. So we're looking at, and I'm just going in order of odds from the lowest to the highest odds. It's Amen Thompson over 17.5 points. It's Jackson Hayes, 8+ rebounds. It's Onyeka Okongwu, double-double. And it's Darius Garland, 25+ points as our 4 plays for today. Let's have a good day today. Let's have a good end of this month. Appreciate everybody for watching. Again, make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. Check out the links in the description of the video. I put a link to Props Madness. If you do sign up, use promo code MODI, all caps, because that helps me out a ton. I also put a link to Dub Club, my Dub Club as well, where I send all my bets out for $5 a month. You look at both of those links. If you do look at both of those links, I would appreciate it. Just a way to help support the channel, keep me able to do this stuff. That's all I got. Appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.